What's up, everyone? This is Fang Slasher VA here, coming at you with a new series of videos. In these new videos, I'm going to be talking about different characters that I'm a fan of and important characters of their series. So, yes, that means that there isn't going to be any Sonic related stuff because my Sonic talks are pretty much on Tuesdays. So, in this first series of videos, we are going to be talking about, in my opinion, the most important assassin from Assassin's Creed. His name is Altair ibn Lahad. And why, in my opinion, he is just as and maybe a bit more important than Ezio Auditore da Firenze. This video might be a little controversial because Ezio is a very beloved character. I mean, I love Ezio as well, but based on lore, hopefully this video will help you understand why, in my opinion, Altair pretty much set up the future Assassin's successes, especially Ezio's. So, just in case you all don't know the background of him, he was the son of a Christian and a Muslim. Um, Eventually, his father got executed, and Altair ran to Al Mualim's quarters with haste, informing him of what had occurred. Al Al Mualim told Altair not to disclose anything about the incident to anyone, not even to Hamed's son Abbas, who would be shamed by the truth of his father's death. Altair considered Al Mualim as more of a father figure than his own biological father, though he was aware that Al Mualim's love was weak and dishonest, and agreed to do as the mentor commanded. Altair and Abbas joined the order as novices soon after growing up together and becoming good friends, always at each other's side. One day, after noticing Abbas' continued grief over his father's death, Altair told him the truth in an effort to console him. Upon hearing it, Abbas turned over in his bed, not saying a word. The following day, the two didn't speak to each other, so Abbas asked their combat instructor, I'm going to try to say this, but just in case I butcher it, I'll spell it out. Labib. If they could fight with real swords instead of the wooden practice ones. It was then that Abbas revealed his hatred of Altair, believing he had lied about Hamed before attacking him in a rage. After the two grappled, Abbas held his knife to Altair's throat and yelled that Altair had lied about Abbas' father to shame him. The commotion caught the attention of the other assassins, the villagers, and Al-Mu'an himself. Trying to quell Abbas's anger, Altair falsely admitted that he had lied, and the two were taken to Masyaf's dungeon. There, they spent a month in confinement before resuming their training with his crimes deemed more severe. Abbas was forced by Al-Mu'alim to spend an extra year in training, while Altair graduated to the rank of assassin. Now, over the years, he ends up becoming a master assassin, but because of that, Altair got very arrogant. He was breaking the code over and over again, especially on this one with going to Solomon's temple. He broke all three creeds, the three tenets. Never lay your blade on an innocent. Always hide in plain sight. Actually, no, I think I got those sentences wrong. Like I said, this is the first video. I probably should have picked a bit more easier video. Okay. Stay your blade from the flesh of the innocent, hide in plain sight, and never compromise the brotherhood. And Altair did that. Now, just in case that seems familiar, that is the opening part of the first Assassin's Creed game. Now, what happens is when he gets back there, and it's revealed to Al Mualim that he did exactly that. Well, it Al Mualim made it seem like he, you know, Altair thought that he was executed. It turns out no. What Al Mualim did, and I'm going to assume he probably used the Apple of Eden. That's the only thing I'm going to assume. Um, or he put him into a temporary death-like state, because there are ways to do that. And he pretty much stripped him down to a novice. The reason why he did this was to build him back up. Now, over the course of the game, he pretty much starts maturing more, and he starts understanding that pretty much I messed up. And one of the ones that really is angry with him is Melik, because his brother was killed during that mission at Solomon's Temple. Now, we do meet a very important character that will become a big part of Altair's life in the first game, which is this girl named Maria. Maria was pretty much, when he thought that he was going after his target, it was revealed that Maria was there in that person's place as a bit of a decoy. Now, see here. Um, second. Let me get the dude's name. So he thought that he was going after Robert D. Sable. Well, what ends up happening is it gets revealed that turns out that Altair and the Templars both have been duped by Al Mualim, and he wanted the Apple of Eden for himself. Now, throughout the games and throughout the expanded media, like the comics and the novels, you do learn that there are assassins that do end up going rogue. Al Mualim was one of those. He put assassins under my control with the Apple of Eden. Luckily, Altair did have some help, because there were some assassins that weren't under the influence, from what I remember. I am currently playing through the first game, so I'm sure that there will be a Chibi Mizu popping up, will let me know if I'm right or wrong. Um, so pretty much after that, he becomes mentor, and he starts studying the Apple of Eden. Well, he goes on a mission because that particular Knights of Templar was regrouping. He ends up reuniting with Maria, and they eventually got married and had kids. During his time as mentor, well, his first stint as mentor, he invented so many different things. He had it to where the hidden blades could be upgraded to where you don't need to lose a finger. The reason why they needed to lose a finger was because of how that blade was. So this way, the blade had more clearance. However, because of the I would assume because of that being a big indicator if someone is a assassin or not. That's probably why Altair found a way to upgrade the hidden blades. Which there's a funny scene in Assassin's Creed 2 to where like Leonardo da Vinci trolls Ezio by, well, there's one more thing. It requires, to lose a finger, and like Ezio was like, all right, then let's get this over with. And he brings it, and he Leonardo takes the knife and slams it on the table, and then like he did it, and then he then later reveals that they don't that it doesn't need that anymore because it's been modified, which always cracks me up every time I replay Altai uh, Assassin's Creed 2. Now, there's this one incident that happens that Abbas ends up, because of his grudge against Altair, Altair, Altair ends up going into exile because of his wife accidentally being stabbed by him because he got in front of, well, she got in front of him and he killed her accidentally because of a blind rage. And if I also remember, one of Altair's son sides with Abbas while the other doesn't. The other ends up um, going with Altair until he's an old man. Let me make sure if I'm correct on this. Okay, so he comes back. He retakes the. Um, he then reclaims Masyaf Castle, and he ends up becoming a mentor again. It's one of those cases of where there are assassins that are loyal to Abbas, and then there are assassins that are loyal to Altair. So even throughout the games, and this is something that I've always appreciated about the Assassin's Creed series, it does not paint everyone in the Assassin Order as like righteous and like you know perfect. Because if there's a struggle between two, high ranking assassins, um, they have shown that the ones under them will pick sides. So both the Templars and the Assassins, neither side are perfect. Um, so when Altair finally takes over again, he once again starts, the one thing that he created, and he uses this on Abbas, is the gun attachment of the hidden blade. Um, he also wrote the codexes so that his enemies could not get them. And so he gives them to Marco Polo, who becomes his great friend. And Marco Polo is the link between Altair and the Auditore family. Because in the Auditore crypt, there's lore about how the Auditore got their name. There's lore about them knowing Marco Polo. So Marco Polo is a very important character as well. Um, And that's another thing that I've always loved about the series is that they take these historical characters, well, crushing these, historical figures, and really they do so much with them. They still keep them at their roles, but they add them in to either be on the side of the Templars or the Assassins. Um, so eventually, Altair realizes that his day was coming to the end, and he has these keys. That is the plot of Assassin's Creed Revelations, and he has them pretty much spread out. And he keeps one with him, and he ends up sealing himself in his library, and that's where he passes away. He Ezio finds his body, and it's a very amazing scene. Um, as long as I'm not copyrighted, there will be the cutscenes I mentioned here that you guys can watch for more context. But Altair is a very important character. I mean, he has a giant statue underneath um the you know underneath Mario's Auditore's home. You know, in modern day, the freaking assassins have ships named after Spears assassins, which one of them is called the Altair 2. He has done so much for the assassins, and in a lot of ways, Ezio took what Altair did, made it his own, and Ezio became a fantastic mentor in his own right, and he also became legendary as well. Both of them comes from tragedy, and both of them pretty much got betrayed by people they thought that they were allies. You have Altair that was basically betrayed by a childhood friend, Abbas, and then he was also betrayed by his mentor, who he saw as a father. Ezio was betrayed by so many names to memorize. This is why I need to get to writing a script for my videos moving forward. Okay. Uberto Alberti. Alberti, if I'm saying his name right. Um, and both characters did a lot, but Ezio's early successes, yes, it comes from his own skill. But what really made his job go well and really effective was the fact that he had these inventions that Altair came up with. Because the Apple of Eden and the upgrades he made, like adding poison to the hidden blades. So, and then of course too, like, there were other assassins that came along that also improved on what Altair did. So, like Connor has that hidden blade that can kind of swing around. That's another improvement to the hidden blade, which would make sense. You actually see Connor using that mode of the hidden blade in combat, while he's using his Tomahawk. And I think that's why, like, I've always defended, if I mean, even though there's no reason to, I've never been like one of those diehard Ezio fanboys that think Ezio is the greatest, because when you play through the Ezio trilogy, and especially since the first Assassin's Creed game I ever played was the first game, you understand that yes, Ezio is his own man. He has his own set of skills. He's a freaking amazing character. He's a great assassin. He's a great mentor as well. But he, in a sense, is carrying on Altair's legacy. Because of Altair, that's why the Assassin Order spread it out more. Now, I know that, games like Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla, shows like the beginning stages of the Assassins and Templars. But in my opinion, the Brotherhood that we know it as today started with Altair, 100%. He also came with all these different assassination techniques too, which were in these codex pages that he wrote. Despite the hard work he had to do, he had a wife, he had 2 kids. He has done so much. And the fact that he was the final mission for Ezio as a active assassin. I mean, I know that in Embers we see Ezio do some more stuff with that one uh, with the uh, with the Chinese assassin. I'm sucking at these names, aren't I? Let me get the name. Um, Xiao Jun, who you play as in Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. But as a active assassin, his final thing that he did was finding that tomb underneath Masyaf Castle and finding Altair and sending that message out to Desmond. And we see him take off his hidden blades underneath Altair's castle. My question is, and I might need to do research on this, whatever happened to Ezio's hidden blades? That's a very, did the Templars take them? Did the Assassins recover them? I know that has nothing to do with this video. But yeah, you know, Altair is a fantastic character. I am disappointed that Ubisoft is remaking Black Flag instead of making the first game. I think that's a mistake. But Ubisoft is pretty out of touch with its communities and with its community nowadays. But yeah, let me know what you think on how I did. Let me know your thoughts on Altair. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Later.